Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome to this new grammar lesson. Today's lesson will be about adjectives and adverbs. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify what is an adjective and what does it do in a sentence, what's an adverb and what does it do in a sentence, how are they similar, how are they different, and what does each one of them answer. Let's get started. What's an adjective? An adjective is a word that describes or identifies a noun or a pronoun. And what's an adverb? It is a word that describes a verb or maybe an adjective or another adverb. How are they similar? Both of them are considered modifiers. They describe. Adjectives and adverbs are modifiers that help writers add information and create vivid images, clear, descriptive images. Adjectives modify nouns or pronouns and answer questions like the ones below here. Vine ripened tomatoes. It tells you what kind of tomatoes. It's vine ripened. When you say brown eyes, the word brown tells you what kind of eyes. In the other example here, third row, it tells you which row. It's the third one. And which warning? It's the last one. So words like last and third, they tell you which one. 3 days and numerous people, the adjectives here, the word three and the word numerous, they tell you how many. Less hope and some time. Less tells you how much, and also some tells you how much. So adjectives, the answer, what kind, which one, how many, or how much. So if there is a word that describes a noun or a pronoun and it tells you what kind, or which one, or how many, or how much, that is considered an adjective. Remember, the article a and an and the are considered adjectives because a and they tell you about the number. They refer to any one of a group. And the points to a particular noun, specific noun. Now let's talk about proper adjectives and predicate adjectives. The difference is that proper adjectives, they are formed from proper nouns. Like when you say British people, the word British tells you which people are you talking about, and the word British, it's taken from the word Britain because the British people, they belong to Britain or they are from Britain. So Britain is a proper adjective. So again, proper adjectives are formed from proper nouns and they are always capitalized. And also we have here Honduran Island. It tells you that the island belongs to Honduras. So Honduran is a proper adjective. What about the predicate adjectives? Adjectives often, but not always, come right before the noun that they modify. Predicate adjectives, they follow a linking verb and they describe it. For example, the bicycle is old and rusted. The linking verb here is. The word old is a predicate adjective, and also the word rusted is predicate adjectives because both of them are adjectives that come after the linking verb is. Let's talk about adverbs. Adverbs modify verbs or adjectives or other adverbs. So they do one of these three things. They modify either verbs or adjectives or other adverbs. Adverbs may appear at the various places in a sentence. They answer the questions when or where or how or to what extent. Let's take an example. We took a field trip yesterday. The word yesterday tells you when did you take a trip. Farther, in the second sentence, we drove farther than we expected. The word farther tells you where did you drive. Third example, 4 o'clock arrived slowly. 4 o'clock arrived slowly. The word slowly tells you how did 4 o'clock arrive. And last example, we were exceptionally tired. Exceptionally here describes tired and it tells you to what extent was he or were they tired. Many adverbs end in the suffix ly. Many of them, not all of them, like slowly, neatly, boldly, but many do not, like always and not and also. To decide whether to use an adjective or an adverb, figure out which word you want to modify. Use an adjective to describe a noun or a pronoun, For example, Stella seems cautious. The word cautious is an adjective because it tells you more information about Stella, so it describes a noun. In the second example here, you need to use an adverb to modify a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. The example says, Stella moves very cautiously. Cautiously tells you how does she move, so it's an adverb. So depending on what does the word answer, what does the modifier answer, you can tell whether it's an adjective or an adverb. Don't forget that we learned about proper adjectives and also predicate adjectives. Let's have an activity. Identify the words here. In this paragraph here, you need to underline the adjectives and circle the adverbs in the following paragraph. Ignore the articles and that, but don't forget that the predicate adjectives also. Let's take an example. Number one. Offenders in a small town in Louisiana now face a possible fine or a jail sentence for wearing sagging jeans. In the first sentence here, exactly, the word small is an adjective because it tells you which town, so it's an adjective. We will underline it. Also, the word now tells you when, so it's an adverb. Possible fine, possible describes the fine, so this is also adjective. Jail sentence, jail describes the sentence, so this is an adjective. And sagging jeans, it tells you which jeans, so it's also an adjective. So in the sentence, that number one, the first sentence, small is an adjective, now is an adverb, possible is an adjective, and also jail is an adjective, and the last one is sagging is an adjective. You need to underline the adjectives and circle the adverbs, and don't forget the predicate adjectives. Stop the video, think of your answers. Here are the answers. Check your answers and give yourself a mark. The mark should be out of 17 because we've got here 17 adjectives and adverbs. Let's have another activity. Choose the correct modifier. This is activity number 2 or exercise number 2. Think about the word that is being modified and then underline the correct modifier in the parentheses. Number 1. Clothing communicates many things, visual or visually. Since the word that we need here describes how the communication happens, so it describes the verb, so we need an adverb, visually. The answer would be visually. Stop the video and think of the answers. Now check your answers and give yourself a mark out of 5. Exercise number 3, using adjectives and adverbs. I want you to use these adjectives and adverbs into meaningful story or meaningful sentences describing a typical school day morning. Write how the word is used. Let's take an example. The first word here is groggy. Groggy is like dizzy or sleepy or not steady. Usually the people in the morning or at the early morning, they feel groggy. So let's say that I always feel groggy in the morning because of my need to sleep. And here we come to the end of today's lesson. Today we talked about how to use adjectives and adverbs. We defined adjectives. We also defined adverbs. And we said that an adjective describes a noun or a pronoun. An adverb describes a verb, adverb, or another adjective. We also differentiated between what does each one of them answer. We said that adjectives answer what kind, which one, how many, or how much. And we said that adverbs describe when, or the answer when, where, how, or to what extent. We differentiated between proper adjectives and predicate adjectives, and we said that a proper adjective is formed from a proper noun, and a predicate adjective describes comes after a linking verb. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.